So first topic at hand, guys. As y'all know, former President Donald Trump was indicted yesterday for the January 6th involvement, the riots. And this actually comes on the heels of him being indicted again on a superseding indictment. So first, let's go ahead and talk about the first case. You guys have anything y'all want to say before I go ahead and summarize it? Or
so the first case we're talking about specifically the indictments, or are we talking about the classified documents? What do you mean the first case?
Okay, so he's okay. I'll give a quick little summary. So first he got indicted in the state of New York, which was like unprecedented that a former president be indicted. They charged him for falsifying business records. Mm-hmm. That's what the whole Stormy Daniels porn star situation.
This was the Southern District of New York, that African-American prosecutor. Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yes, but it's a state case, not federal.
All right.
Not federal. But it was the state of New York that did it. But yes, what's his name? Alvin Briggs, maybe? I know he campaigned under "We're Gonna Get Trump." So they went ahead and got him for falsifying business records. Long story short, he had a payoff to a porn star named Stormy Daniels.
Yeah. And I interviewed her afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've met her because the AVN Awards are always in Vegas, so she's always there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically they hooked up in like 2006, 2007.
Hush money.
And then he paid her some hush money. It was like somewhere between $70,000 to $150,000 or something like that. His lawyer paid for it, but they used certain funds that they shouldn't have used, and they were able to kind of basically get them for using election money or campaign money.
So the attorney said, "Let me handle this," and they ended up using election money to pay her off, which is a federal offense, I believe. It's like our campaign finance.
It can be a federal offense, but that's how they were able to get him on the falsifying records, because the falsifying records charge is normally a misdemeanor.
Okay,
but they're able to get you on a felony if it's in the furtherance of another felony. So I think that's how they were able to justify getting him with the felony version of falsifying business records, because they're saying that this violates federal law with election laws.
Sure.
Right. And that's a very oversimplified example, guys, what I'm telling y'all. But yeah, so they were able to get him with that falsifying business record. Right. So he gets indicted for that earlier this year. Then the big one, which is the one that I'm actually the most concerned with, which you could probably talk about this more, Mike, was they indicted him for having the classified documents.
Yes.
So the FBI goes ahead, as you guys remember last year, the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, and then they went ahead and indicted him for the classified documents. And then recently, I think like a week ago, they hit him with a superseding indictment, which basically means like an updated charge where they added more charges to the situation. We can pull it up real quick. Here, Mo, let's pull up this thing on the classified stuff to kind of give you guys a summary.
And the part that
I react to it.
Oh, go
ahead. We'll run the clip and then we'll.
Sure.
So go ahead. And so, new charge in Trump's Mar-a-Lago classified docs case. Go ahead, run the clip.
A major development tonight in one of the special counsel's investigations into former President Donald Trump. Trump is now facing new charges in the classified documents case. Now, he has already been accused of mishandling classified material and blocking the government's efforts to get them back. But late this afternoon, the special counsel released a superseding indictment, adding 3 new charges and naming another co-defendant in the case.
Guys, a superseding indictment is just a fancy way of saying a new charge. A new set of charges from the same case. That's just
like an addendum to a contract.
Essentially, exactly. Go ahead.
NBC's Laura Jarrett has all the details.
These new counts add a charge of willful retention of national defense information. Mr. Trump is also charged, along with his personal aide, Walt Nauta, and a new defendant, Mar-a-Lago employee Carlos de Oliveira, with obstruction.
So that's the main reason right there why they did a superseding indictment. They wanted to get this third guy, Alfredo, in jail. That's basically the main concept behind this.
And then he would snitch on the president? Is that what they think?
I think that might be a part of their strategy to get him in to cooperate. And we'll talk about how he was involved here in a second. Go ahead, Mo, keep running.
Conspiracy. The new obstruction counts are significant and based on allegations that the defendants attempted to delete surveillance footage at Mar-a-Lago in the summer of 2022.
That third defendant, Carlos de Oliveira, was a maintenance supervisor at Mar-a-Lago. Also, Trump already faced 31 counts of illegally retaining national defense information. This new indictment adds a 32nd to the list. It is related to a recording of the former president at Bedminster, where he's discussing classified documents involving Iran.
Well, with Milley, let me see that. I've got to show you an example. He said that.
All right, guys, this recording is actually very damning. This actually is what has me very concerned with this case. But I'll play it and then we can talk about it after. But pay attention.
I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look.
These are all classified documents.
They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at him. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Mm-hmm. Except it is like highly.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Because we were talking about it, and he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassify.
figure out
See, as president, I could have declassified.
Yeah.
Now I can't.
Pause.
This is
yeah.
Right
Guys, that right there, bro, is literally what has me very concerned. So two things are going on here. He's admitting that he didn't declassify the documents, right? He's showing some national defense information. So even if it was classified, it wouldn't matter because it's military shit. Automatically falls under NDI, national defense information. And then the other one is that he's saying in here, yeah, it's secretive, that it's not information that people should have. Mind you, this woman that he's talking to is like a reporter. She doesn't have a clearance. She doesn't have a need to know, right? This is all government jargon for what's required when you share any type of document that might be sensitive in nature. So this is bad that they have this recording and they're absolutely going to introduce this as evidence in the investigation.
Let me provide some context. So all former presidents, so right now Obama, Bush, and Trump, they receive an intelligence briefing every day, even at their private residence. George Bush lives in Dallas, Texas. He still receives an intelligence briefing. He has a junior intelligence officer that gives it to him every day. There are sometimes documents that are there. Now, I don't know that's why he got these, but the thing is, it seems pretty clear that he's sort of like using this to find out information that other people said about himself, but he's not using, like, I think the president of the United States, the former president, if he had gone into a skiff or gone somewhere else and like looked at these documents in a secret location, it would be fine. But you're right, this is incredibly damning. So when I heard you and Ryan Dawson say that this looks bad, I was like, this looks really bad. Yeah. If those two guys are saying it's bad, it must be pretty bad.
And I'm like, for me, right, speaking from experience, I've actually arrested someone for this very charge, 18 USC 793, which is, violations of like the Espionage Act when you have documents that you shouldn't be having, or national defense information, classified information, etc. It was an Iranian guy that was basically shipping fighter jet schematics over back to Iran, which it wasn't classified, but it was considered national defense information because of military technology. So they don't have to prove much when it comes to this charge. That's what has me concerned, because it's like all they have to prove is that it's national defense information, which, I mean, clearly it is. Anything that's military is going to be considered.
He did mention, though, that the war, they want to attack Iran. He's talking about who?
He's saying that someone else was trying to say he wanted to attack Iran.
Which was a lie.
And he's saying whoever person X is, no, that person was saying he wanted to attack Iran, and here's the proof. That's what he was talking about.
It's a plan. It was a plan to attack country A, which I think they referred to in the indictment. But I think the country in question is Iran. And this is something that his military heads had drafted up and shown to him. Because he was against the war, Trump. And then that's what he's saying, like, I was right all along, blah, blah, blah. That's what he's referring to.
So he wanted to, like, I guess.
He didn't want to go to war with Syria.
Right.
When you were working for the feds, did you guys have skiffs where you had to?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So just for people who don't know, it's like usually 4 inches of concrete. There's a room you have to go into. You have to leave your cell phone outside. Someone has to buzz you in. When you go in there, you can't have any electronic devices. And did you have computers on the SIPRnet?
Yeah. You computers, phones, you can go in there and basically look. Think of it as a room where you can look at classified information.
Yeah. So the reason why the SIPRnet computers don't have USB ports anymore, and that stopped back, I want to say back in 06, 07, because of the Bradley Manning thing, because of him stealing all those documents from a SIPRnet computer, putting it on thumb drives or whatever. And that's how he got all those documents, specifically because of that. Yeah. But the point is, the president could have actually looked at these documents. He's still the president of the United States. He still has very high clearance. He's a former president. And for those of you who don't know, former presidents are often used for like prisoner exchange. Former presidents are used as diplomats for other countries to do negotiations. Former presidents still have a job. Being the former president of the United States is still an occupation. And the current president, if he so chooses, can ask one of the former presidents to go do something on his behalf. And that's why they consistently get intelligence briefings, and often current presidents will call former presidents for advice. That happens very, very frequently. So that's the reason why, just to put a little context why this is happening. The other thing is, like, it's not that the president couldn't have looked at this stuff. He could have, if he had gone to, like, say, maybe Andrews Air Force Base or something like that and, like, looked in a skiff, he probably would have been able to have access to it. In his private residence, that's a problem. To a reporter, that is a problem.
But wait, what about Hillary?
Okay, asking a good questions.
Okay,
asking a good questions. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, you're 100% right. I mean,
and isn't that the bigger problem here? Is like, do we have a two-way system when it comes to law? It's like, is it based off of who you are?
Good point.
Now, or is it based off the fucking law? Because if it's based off the law, then shouldn't Hillary be in jail?
Yeah,
I think we can agree that Trump is not part of the he's not
on the right. Yeah, he's not on the right team.
And because of him not being on that team, he's a target. Let's get him out of here.
Yep. So, we'll keep running the clip here, but yeah, basically, so the reason why this is damning, guys, because he's acknowledging that it's classified to a degree, and then he's also acknowledging that he could have classified it, but he did not. Yeah. Which is a power that the president of the United States does have, where he can basically declassify documents. Let's go ahead and run it.
We have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Tonight, Donald Trump reacted to the new charges, saying, quote, "It's election interference at the highest level. They're harassing my company. They're harassing my family. They're harassing me." The latest charges come on the very same day the grand jury investigating Trump's possible involvement in 2020 election interference met in D.C. So far, there have been no indictments in that case.
Pause.
And just
so you guys know, this came out like a week ago. And we're going to talk about January 6th here in a second. But I'm just going.
Why does MSNBC they keep using these ugly photos of him where he looks so unhappy?
Yeah,
like, use some happy photos. You know what I'm saying, or some neutral photos. This is pretty obvious what you're showing here.
Isn't it crazy?
It's the leftist news media.
Like, he is not being escorted into court right here. That's not what this is. But they're taking this photo out of context.
Yeah,
but isn't it wild, right? Every king, man of importance, man of status, on some level, his downfall is because of women.
Interesting.
Isn't that wild?
I see what you mean.
Yeah, a lot of them. I'm not sure all of them, but yeah, a lot of them. I mean, definitely a Clinton. But the irony is Clinton's highest approval rating. You guys know what it was? It's after the world found out he got a blowjob from Monica Lewinsky. His highest. Look it up. That was his highest approval rating during his presidency.
But Dusty made a good point, though. Once again, it could happen to him, but not Hillary, because of who she is and who she stands for. So it's just wild, man.
Go ahead, Mo.
that was happening, two of Donald Trump's lawyers were meeting with special counsel Jack Smith's office.
All right. So that basically covers the classified stuff. So they added more stuff because he basically had someone try to delete the footage at Mar-a-Lago.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this real quick.
Yeah.
Is he getting convicted? Is he going to jail?
I can answer that after the second one.
Okay, cool.
Unless you want to take it now.
No, I actually want to hear what you have to say.
Let's hit January 6th now, and then we can kind of talk about it and then move on to the UFO
next
situation.
video? Or
yeah, let's hit the next video. So next video, guys, going to cover January 6th. As you guys know, January 6th with the Capitol riots, where they entered in the Capitol building and everything else like that. And I'll just let the video explain for itself.
Yeah.
So and this was yesterday, guys.
Shirley, I'm going to interrupt you again, which is very rude, and I'm going to owe you a drink. We want to get to David Spun. He actually has the indictment.
I'm owe you a drink.
He can read it to us. Tell us what are the
these
charges.
People watching are all
Spun,
friends, man. They're all buddies.
We got the printer going.
Dude, you know what we just said there? Everyone in this media outlet, Blitz, they're all friends.
Of course.
And they'll work together.
Yeah, but when you think about it, on Twitch, they're all friends. On YouTube, we're all friends. Sort of. I mean, obviously, some of us aren't friends, but like it's
but
just,
the agenda
that's just
behind is kind of
agreed. Yeah. What does that lead to? That leads to some dangerous conclusions.
If we want to put you in this box of being this bad person, we will. And you can't do anything about it.
Got to cooperate. Yeah.
Sorry, but it's kind of wild.
Going behind me, 45 pages. Here it is right here. Donald Trump has been indicted. There are 4 different counts. I want to read them to you before I read through this. Count 1 is conspiracy to defraud the United States. Count 2, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Count 3, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding. And then count 4 is called conspiracy against rights. So I'm going to go through this.
And they're doing this, guys, because he basically was saying the election was rigged. He was trying to get people to recount votes in certain states. So that's why they're hitting him with these charges. And on top of that, Georgia, Fulton County, the same DA, by the way, that's charging Young Thug in that RICO case, is probably going to bring charges against them as well for very similar things with the election.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys see how though these prosecutors don't want to be the first, and so now that they're not the first,
Yeah,
you start seeing Fulton
Snowball.
County product.
It's almost a political Me Too.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, actually, good point. Yeah,
there's no way a Fulton County prosecutor is going to be the first one to charge the president of the United States, but he will allow the Southern District of New York or the DA from New York or whoever to go first.
He needs Stormy Daniels to do it first, and then he'll come out.
Right?
Yeah, it's a Me Too.
And that DA campaigned heavy under we're going to go after Trump.
Yeah.
So he kind of like had to do it because this is shit from like 2016, 2017 that they're getting him for with the whole Stormy Daniels situation.
This is an all-out attack to bring him down.
Yeah,
once and for all.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Wait, did you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Let's keep playing.
We just sent it out, so everybody should have a copy in our email. But right now it appears 4 different counts. This was the indictment that was not read in court, now is unsealed. And we're waiting to see if we get any type of reaction from special counsel Jack Smith. We'll be watching for. Dana.
Do you know, understand? But earlier you said that the indictments didn't have some initials or some people were named. What happened to that? Is now everybody named?
Not everybody was named. Apparently, we're told from our producer in the courtroom, there were 2 cases where initials were read. We're deciphering who those initials may be. We're waiting to see if we find those. But this specific case right here, there was no DT read or DJT or Donald Trump announced in the courtroom. And this just says United States of America v. Donald J. Trump defendant. So it does not have other defendants listed in this indictment. We were wondering if perhaps it might be
Pause
Donald
real quick.
Trump.
Pull it up real fast, Mo. The indictment that they have there that I showed the document for. It's the next tab. And I'll show you out real quick this indictment. You guys can see it here. Yep. Okay. So you can see right here. So 18 USC 371 conspiracy. That's the typical conspiracy charge. And they got 1512 conspiracy to obstruct an official obstruction and of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and then conspiracy against rights. And you can see here it says versus Donald J. Trump. But throughout the indictment, right, if you scroll down, they list multiple conspirator or co-conspirators, which when you do the math, you can figure out one of them is like Rudy Giuliani, etc. So I don't know if they're going to go ahead and charge the rest of them, but and you could go through it. It's 45 pages. We're not going to read the entire thing, guys, but they go over all the facts in the case, right? And you can obviously go through it. I've noticed with these Trump indictments, they've been very I mean, they're definitely crossing their T's and dotting their I's and making sure that they show everything for you guys from a chronological standpoint, so it all makes sense. Like their classified documents indictment was pretty well written, and they know that they're going after a president. So I guarantee you, this was probably seen at every single level of the Department of Justice. A million people probably had to proofread it and make sure that it was clear. But they've been working really hard to do something called what you call a speaking indictment, which basically it lists everything from beginning to end, outlines most of the evidence in the case so that even someone that doesn't have that much of a legal background or awareness of how the law works in the United States is able to read this and come to a conclusion of like, oh, wow, this person probably did it, which is what? Probable cause, which is the level that you have to hit to get anyone charged in the United States anyway. But yeah, and this is up on, you guys can easily Google this and find it and read through it if you want. I'll probably go in more detail on this on Fed Reacts, but just want to show you guys the document itself. Now, these charges aren't like that bad compared to the classified documents charges. Like those are what I'm worried about because he could do 15 to 20 years for those. This stuff is all more like, BS obstruction charges, lying. The charges like obstruction of justice, false statements, etc. They typically don't have higher sentencing guidelines like, anything that has to do with espionage. We can go back to the clip, Mo, and then we'll get the people's thoughts.
And XYZ, as we saw with the retention of documents case where his aide and body man, Walt Nauta, was also indicted. This right here is just United States of America versus Donald Trump. It's 4 counts. Again, count 1, conspiracy to defraud the United States. Count 2, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Count 3 is obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding. Count 4 is conspiracy against rights. It is 45 pages. And on the back, it has Jack Smith's signature right here. Okay. And it just says right here, it says Donald J. Trump, this is on the final page, did knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with co-conspirators known and unknown to the grand jury to injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate one or more persons in the free.
I guarantee a couple of those co-conspirators are probably cooperating with the investigation, which is why they're not charged in the indictment, and they're just naming them as co-conspirators.
Damn.
Guaranteed. Let's keep going.
The exercise and enjoyment of a right and privilege secured to them by the Constitution and laws of the United States. That is the right to vote and to have one's vote counted in violation of Title 18 of the United States.
I'm curious.
Turn it over to y'all.
So for these counts, this has to do with January 6th.
Yeah.
I'm confused how that keeps people from their right to vote. That extrapolation I wasn't able to pull.
What they're basically saying is that he incited riots and he pushed the Department of Justice to act on his behalf because he thought the election was rigged.
Okay. Oh, so by him pushing, got it.
Yeah,
So the felony is for him, misappropriation of power to get the Justice Department.
Pull up that indictment one more time. So
that's slightly separate from the
Hate
January
to
6th
ask
thing.
another
Got it.
dumb question, but what
No, there's no
happens
dumb
when the left riots and
Nothing.
throws- so
good. Yeah.
They get tax breaks and they defund the police. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, they call it Black Lives Matter.
It's called they get a 501c3 tax break. They're not tax. You know what I'm saying? They're
So it's just
charity
conspiracy
organization.
to defraud the United States. That's a very catch-all charge, right? Basically because they were trying to say that he was putting pressure on the states to recount votes and all this other shit. And then conspiracy to obstruct the official proceeding. Basically, they're saying he tried to obstruct the election process. So these are all very general charges that can kind of be put on, anything really that they think is violation. And that's the thing with federal charges. Once you affect interstate commerce, or they're able to establish that you cross state lines with your crime, which is very easy to do with the internet nowadays. They're able to go ahead and establish federal charges.
My point is, isn't the Justice Department then culpable? Like the President of the United States is the head of the executive branch. He can appoint people to different executive appointees, the director of the FBI, the director of the CIA, the director of the Justice Department. But they don't have to do what he says. Now, he could fire them, but I don't understand how he makes them do this. Or rather, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's me telling you to break up with your girl. It's still your fault if you break up with your girl. At some point, that's why I'm a little confused by this. It's
Pull that indictment one more time, Mo, and then enlarge it real fast. I'll read that first paragraph real quick. Let's see, maybe because it might give a little bit of a summary here. Enlarge on our end. Okay. Yeah. Was the 45th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, the defendant, was the 45th president of the United States and a candidate for re-election in 2020. The defendant lost the 2020 presidential election. Despite having lost, the defendant was determined to remain in power. So for more than 2 months following election day on November 3rd, 2020, the defendant spread lies that there had been outcome determinative fraud in the election, and he had actually won. These claims were false, and the defendant knew they were false, but the defendant repeated and widely disseminated them anyway to make his knowingly false claims appear legitimate, create an intense national atmosphere of mistrust and anger, and erode public faith in the administration.
But that's not against the law. That's what that first paragraph is not against the law. Number one, and number two, they
address that here in paragraph 3.
Okay.
It says the defendant had a right, like every American, to speak publicly about the election and even claim falsely that there had been outcome determinative fraud during the election and he had won. He was also entitled to formally challenge the results of the election through lawful and appropriate means, such as seeking recounts or audits of the popular vote in states or filing lawsuits challenging ballots and procedures. Enlarge it, Mo, real quick for me. Indeed, in many cases, the defendant did pursue these methods of contesting the election results. His efforts to change the outcome in any state, though recounts, audits, or legal challenges were uniformly unsuccessful. Paragraph 4. Shortly after election day, the defendant also pursued unlawful means of discounting legitimate votes and subverting the election results. In doing so, the defendant perpetrated 3 criminal conspiracies. So that's what they're saying, is that he pursued unlawful means of discounting legitimate votes. Okay. And then they go into the 3 things that he did.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because what I thought they were saying is that he's strong-arming the Justice Department to do something, but he has the right to say those things. That's not against the law for him to do that. I see where it's going now.
Yeah, and it goes into A, B, and C. A conspiracy to defraud the United States by using dishonesty, fraud, and deceit to impair, obstruct, and defeat the lawful federal government's function by which the results of the presidential election were collected, counted, and certified by the federal government in violation of 18 U.S.C. 371. A conspiracy to corruptly obstruct and impede the January 6th congressional proceeding at which the collected results of the presidential election are counted and certified. And then a conspiracy against the right to vote and to have one's vote counted in violation of 18 U.S.C. 241. So they're just throwing the book at this fucking guy.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
At what level does free speech go from you can say what you want to now you're a conspiracy? Because it's starting to feel like free speech only is okay if you don't have a platform to share what you have to say.
Yeah, I think
at what level is that?
So
no, down.
Play devil's advocate from their standpoint, it's the point at which you do things to the detriment of other people. So right to vote is a civil right, and so I think that's a pretty big stretch number C or letter C there, conspiracy against the right to vote and to have one's vote counted in violation. So I guess he's saying because the ballots that were sent in should not be counted, that somehow that's a conspiracy against the right to vote. I guess that's what it is. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I agree with you. I mean, he should be allowed to say whatever he wants. Also, he's about to be a private citizen. He wasn't reelected. So that's the issue. Like, but it is one of these things. It's like, I can express myself with my fists until I get to your face, and then I can't express myself anymore, right? It's one of these things that he can express himself, and the federal government's going to say, well, when you start damaging other people, then that's the point we're going to stop.
Or when other people can actually hear what you're saying. Because a normal person can go down the street saying all of these things, but when Trump has people listening to him or Tate or whomever, then it's a conspiracy. So is free speech free?
So I would argue there's no more free speech because it's so vague and so like open that I can say, you know what, you said that, the sky is blue, but it's really green. And I feel like you're hurting my idea of what the sky should be.
Sure.
And as a result, you're hurting me, which is kind of like woo wah wah. But ultimately, is there free speech? I don't think so anymore, man.
I was at a nightclub in Vegas, and I talked to an executive at Instagram, and I asked him about Andrew Tate. He 100% said it wasn't because of what he said, is because of how popular he was. We had to take him down.
That was
100%. Yeah, that's what he said. So yeah, that definitely is. It's the influence.
Especially when he said like, don't be violent. And it's funny because they're not charging him with like inciting violence or anything. They're charging him with like saying that he's undermining the democracy of the United States with the voting situation. But he even said it like, hey guys, don't go out there and peaceful protests, etc. But what I think is that obviously the riots occurred because he obviously gave a speech, got some people fired up, whatever. Even though he didn't tell them to go ahead and do what they did, they want to hold someone responsible. So that's what it is.
But do you see how you speaking about how you see things can be twisted and put a narrative on you where, oh, he meant this, but really he didn't mean that at all. But that's scary because anybody could be a target.
Yeah, there's certain. Anybody. I mean, obviously, we're on Rumble for a reason right now because because there are certain things. It's like the problem isn't having the wrong opinion. The problem is like having the discussion now gets you canceled. That's where there's an issue. And to his credit, it was actually Destiny who said this when he was doing Graham Stephan's podcast. He was like, every time I would debate someone, Twitch would cancel them. He would kick them off the platform. And he was telling somebody at Twitch, he's like, you have to stop doing this. You have to stop getting rid of people because they disagree with me and I'm progressive. And so that's the problem. One of the other things is it does seem I don't care how leftist you are watching this, you cannot disagree with this. People on the right are more willing to have these discussions than people on the left are, which are simply to say, you're stupid, therefore I won't discuss things with you.
True.
It's not even...
They'll take the moral high ground.
Yes, correct. Even the people on the left have to agree with this. Mm-hmm. And the people on the right, let's just say you are someone who's extremely progressive, you also have to admit that no matter how kooky you think they are, the people on the right are just more entertaining. In addition to the fact that they will take on all comers anytime they want. And so I think that's where the separation happens. Like, I was watching the Young Turks the other day, and they were saying something like, "Yes," and all these Republicans talk about they're doing this in support of the First Amendment. And I'm like, yes, because the First Amendment is important. No, it doesn't matter. Like, if there was I want people who I disagree with to speak as loud as they can, because then I know to not vote for them.
Yeah.
So First Amendment goes both ways. It's not just the spreading of good, fun, happy unicorn ideas. It's also the spreading of bad ideas. So you're like, I don't want to vote for you. And that's both parts are important, but only one part is being expressed.
Yeah. It's cooler to be a leftist. I mean, if you look at universities, if you look at the young people, a lot of them are more, liberally sound. They want to paint their fingernails. They want to have free college, all this other bullshit. And I've always said it. As you make more money or you go up the social ranks, you start to realize, damn, I don't want to pay a lot of taxes. Then typically you're going to align yourself with conservative values to some degree. But yeah, the cool thing, the trendy thing, is to absolutely be a liberal. And then they don't want to have discussion a lot of times. That's why some people like Destiny, if y'all want to know, because he's one of the few. I wouldn't even consider him like a far leftist, but he's one of the few people that's progressive that will go ahead and have a conversation with someone that has completely opposing views.
I think that's why he's not a far leftist, is because he's having conversations where he's like, you understand, most hardcore leftists just think people on the right are just dumb and or negligent and or just evil. Yeah. They can't see that this person had a mother or father, grew up, had some trauma in their life, had a family, fell in love, had money, lost their money. They don't see people on the right as having struggles.
Yeah.
They just see it as like, you are just stupid because you don't agree with what I agree with. And that's the end of the discussion. Whereas with Destiny, because he's so willing to have these debates with people who he disagrees with, I've seen him on several occasions go to, hey, I don't understand why you believe this, but I want to know where you came to this conclusion. And he really does try to understand people.
Intelligence.
Exactly.
He's not a dumb guy.
And I have tried to adopt that in my debates where I had a flat earth debate with Flat Earth Dave, and I was like trying to understand what happened to you. Even when I had the flat earth debate with Zerka, I was trying to understand where Zerka was getting these ideas from, right or wrong. I just want to know what motivated you to legitimately believe the earth is flat. You understand what I'm saying? And instead of just yelling at him,
attacking him, yeah.
Exactly. And I got that. I think that's a really important thing that the left doesn't do any of.
Yeah. It's apparent to me, if you don't follow their agenda, what happens is you get called stupid, you might be violent, you may be considered evil. And on that level, like you said before, they don't want to talk to you at all. However, in the social media world itself, if you go against the narrative, you get canceled.
Yeah.
Literally. Long enough influence, you get canceled.
Yeah. So as far as what I think with the do you guys want to give your predictions first of what you think as far as if he's going to beat these charges or anything? I could go last if y'all want.
I'm dying to know your thoughts on this.
I think they're going to do everything they can to put him in jail so he can't. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a point where he knows they've got him, and so he's going to have some kind of negotiation. I don't think it's good for the country in any form whatsoever to have a former president in jail. I don't care how far to the left you are. Having Hillary Clinton, or I know people are going to disagree with me with this, having Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump in jail, it erodes the sanctity of our entire government. I think the idea of having a former president in jail is just bad. That's something that you see in banana republics in fucking Africa. That is not something we should be doing in the United States if we can avoid it.
But something that America does to people. They don't like a leader that's in power somewhere, and then they go make sure that there's revolts and riots.
Sure.
The people turn on him, and then they get him out, get him in jail, and put the guy they need in there, and then they use that country as a pawn.
We do that all the time.
All through the Central and South America.
America does that shit everywhere, especially in Central America, with that banana republic situation being one of them.
We can ask the question why. Or who's controlling? Okay.
Here we go. All right. And wait, Rumble.
The show's over. The show's over.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, sorry, you were going to go ahead, Mike.
No, I love the fact that we're able to have this discussion, and I really wish more people. I love talking to people who disagree with me. Man, it's so motivating to do that. I don't want let's talk about something. It is a little controversial. It's not going to get us banned on Rumble, but the idea of the heritability studies when it comes to race. There was a Nobel Prize winner who just simply stated that there may be differences in IQ based on race, and he was lost. I don't think he lost his Nobel Prize, but he lost several honors because of that. The problem is, if I wanted to refute that, I can't, because no one will do studies on this anymore, because it's such a toxic thing to study in university about the differences in IQ based on race. But as someone who studies evolutionary psychology, I desperately want to know, what is the difference in the amygdala? What is the difference in the size of the frontal lobe? I want to know these answers, but yet actually doing this study is so toxic, we can't do it. And so now what happens is the people on the left who want to refute the studies on the right, they can't even refute them because no one will do these studies. Does that make sense? Because the topic is so toxic.
I got something to add to that, because we brought on this fucking lawyer that was just arguing the whole time, right? As far as because obviously we know that when a chick has more sexual partners, typically that's going to fuck up the relationship. It's going to
we see studies on that.
Affect your ability to pair bond. It's a pair bond with her, whatever. And she's saying, oh no, there's no study that shows that a woman having more sexual partners will limit her ability to be a good wife or daughter. Not good wife or girlfriend or whatever. And I'm like, in my head, I was like, yeah, there's studies that kind of cover it, but there's no study that extensively covers okay, you have a 50 body count, you have a 5 body count, let's go ahead and compare and contrast, because that would be considered unethical, right? They wouldn't be able to run a study like that. And then we know women typically underreport their number of sexual partners, so it would be very difficult to find data on that, right? That's like saying I need a study that shows 1 + 1 is 2. It's no, it's a generally accepted and known fact based off of how things go, but you're not going to find a study for that specific thing because no one would conduct that study. It'd be canceled.
So there is an Institute for Family Studies that does show that as you get above a certain number of sexual partners, men sort of level off in their happiness in a marriage. This is after 10 years, and women go down. And what happens is that study was in 1995. And I was talking to Rolo. I was like, why are there not new studies on this? And it's like, because they're afraid of what they're going to find.
Yeah.
They're going to afraid if they found, just imagine if there was a study that showed that the neurochemicals of dopamine and oxytocin started to lessen the more sexual partners. Think if they could neurologically show that women had a lower ability to pair bond once you get past 20 partners, 50 partners, etc. If you could literally show that in the science, a peer-reviewed paper to show that, can you imagine how damning that would be to certain people's narrative? They can never do that study.
They'll destroy the whole rap industry for women. They'll destroy the culture. They be happy.
And yet, any guy who's been with a number of women, this is true. And so when you see that, it's like you're going to do a study that
even women know it's true
for sure.
Yeah,
like because that same chick that was making arguments for women should be able to be promiscuous kept repeating, "I've only had 7 partners. I've only had 7 partners." Why do you keep repeating that then?
Because it's low to her.
My main point is that you don't even believe in that bullshit, which is why you work to keep your number low. It's always funny to me how women will sit there and make an argument for women being able to be promiscuous, but then themselves will say, "Oh, but I'm not promiscuous, but I think women should be able to have it." And that's what I've kind of realized is that females typically don't want to do a lot of the shenanigans that they claim that they want to do. They just want to have the ability to do it without being checked. That's what it is.
And it's always funny. We ask girls on the show, "What's your body count?" They're like, "Oh, I can't remember," or "I don't know." But you really know what number is, or you might have an idea. You don't want to say it on camera.
Bro, if you don't know, that's even worse.
I forgot after 100. I forgot after the Drake concert. I don't know. You know what you do? Well, remind me this. Let's do I've done this before. It's a really interesting thing you can do, where you ask every girl how promiscuous they think their friends are on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've done that.
Yeah. And then you ask them how promiscuous they think they are, and it's always 5 or 6 points lower.
Gotta be.
It's so great. It's like, how are all of you less promiscuous than your friends?
I get around that by saying, what do you think the average sex partner is, sex partner count for a woman that's 25 years old that's out of college? That's when you get fairly honest answers.
I did the live show.
I did it at the live show.
Yeah.
And some girls said 7, some girls said 10, other girls said 50, 20, other girls said 80. So long story short, we basically summarized it. The average was about 20 to 30 guys for an average 25-year-old woman. That's fucking high.
Yeah.
Right. But then if I were to ask those girls, how many bodies do you have? They'll all say 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they can't remember.
Which is worse. Or they'll say, I won't answer it. So, I mean, it's just a clown world. But as far as
Trump.
Whereas Walt, you legitimately don't remember. I'm just kidding.
Well, at this point, bro, I just stopped counting.
You stopped counting?
But thing is, I never really counted. I just averaged off of what I've kind of had on my phone.
Yeah, so 50 a year for 10 years, and then is that how it works? Oh, you're a man of God.
Because,
my bad.
My WhatsApp had God, by the way. A bunch of numbers. And then when I look at my contact list, I'm like, hold on. Majority of this is girls. I did the math.
Yeah.
They're not from Barbados, so it's like tourist girls. So I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of girls. Then I did the math.
That's how you came to 1,000 from before?
Come on. You got the number, bro?
Something like that.
You started to do that?
But yeah.
They already said it in the chat. They already know.
But it's pretty high.
It's allegedly.
But you forgot.
Yeah, I forgot at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
So but this is what I think with the Trump situation, right? So obviously he's facing the most serious charges, I would say, are definitely the classified documents one, because it doesn't matter. It's considered national defense information, whether it's classified or a secret or not secret or whatever. If it's a national defense information, doesn't matter. You can get hit with espionage charges, right? Which is the 18 USC 793 stuff, guys. And just for you guys, to give you guys context, Robert Hansen, right, the former FBI agent that died in prison actually like a month ago for selling secrets to Russians, that's the statute that they got him under. So he could definitely do some serious time. They said that he's looking at like 15 or whatever. If he goes to trial, who knows? It might be even longer. So
how old is Trump?
He's in his 60s.
No, he's 80. Donald Trump's 80 years old.
80,
yeah.
Sorry.
80 years old?
Yeah.
He gonna die in jail, bro.
Yeah. So those are the charges I'm more concerned with, because they don't really have to prove much, and they pretty much got him dead to rights with those recordings. Another thing that has me worried is that when I read through the classified documents indictment, they said that they have lawyer notes, which that should be a huge red flag, because whenever you have a conversation with your lawyer, that's considered privileged. The law enforcement can't get that. So, for example, let's say you arrest somebody and their lawyer shows up and they said, okay, we need the room. You can't sit there. You have to leave and let them have their private conversation. The guy can literally admit, yeah, I killed those 10 people. Can't use it because it's considered privileged information from what he used, from him talking with his lawyer. So the fact that in the indictment they had lawyer notes in there,
is cooperating.
It shows that the lawyers are cooperating with the government, and they're going to go ahead and testify. And then they probably have a bunch of witnesses in this situation.
Let me say this real quick. When he goes for re-election, he'll be 80. I was wrong. He's 77 years old. I said that incorrect. Yeah. All right. So yeah, man. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, so this is a smear campaign, along with him doing some stuff that it's not really legal. So I get that part. But it's all attack on Trump, and I think on some level he kind of didn't go with the agenda, and now he wants to come back to this as a free, and I want to say more like not all the way politician.
Sure,
they're like, you know what? Nah, just get out of here right now. So they want to cut him out of everything, and then once again, whatever you say can be used against you in the court of public opinion.
Yeah,
and now everything he did in the past and what he's doing right now is going to be held against him. And ultimately speaking, bro, maybe there's something wrong, which is with the documents. I get that part, but all the other charges, man, that's kind of a lot. So, I mean, hopefully he gets some leniency on this conviction if he does get convicted. But ultimately speaking, he may go to jail and then end up being in jail.
They're going to give him the choice. They're going to say, listen, you're either going to go to jail or you're going to step the fuck out the way.
Yeah, I did the math. He's looking at around 15 because what they do, they have sentencing guidelines in the federal system, and you get certain points based on the crime and this and everything else like that. It more than likely, if he fights this, he's looking at somewhere between 15 to 20. You always do more time if you don't plead guilty.
But what about good behavior?
He's
you know
gonna
what? And
good behavior, no.
In the federal system, so you have to do at least 80% of your time in the federal system, and he would only get good behavior once he's in prison.
Damn.
And you know what? If you look back at kind of like the history of this whole situation, he had an opportunity to bury some people and he didn't.
Yeah.
And my concern is that they're going to have more of a killer instinct than he had, and they could bury him.
It was Jeffrey Epstein shit?
You're right.
What you're saying?
He didn't go after Hillary once he took office.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
anything.
He had the
campaigned
opportunity
saying like lock her up, but he never actually went after
He had the
her.
opportunity to put a sword in his chest. They could do it to him.
Yeah.
I agree with what you were saying, and he also probably broke the law. So that's the tip of the iceberg. Once you get, you know what I'm saying, that's the first volley, and then everybody piles on afterwards.
But we can agree. Well, I don't want you guys to agree with me, but like on some level, you can kind of say that a lot of presidents do things that are not really.
If your argument is that other presidents should have been charged with other shit, yes. Aaron Burr was the vice president of the United States when he shot Alexander Hamilton in the hip and killed him. Right, there was a federal arrest warrant for him, and he went back to the Senate and actually presided over the Senate with a federal arrest warrant for murder, and they didn't arrest him. Yes, of course. So you can go all the way back to the 1700s and see that there's examples of politicians not being arrested for murder or arrested for committing crimes.
What? What's up?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Europa?
What do you do?
You forgot?
What?
Or never mind.
I don't even know that one.
That's for a different talk. The war? Roosevelt? Europa?
Oh, you mean like the killing the Germans?
Yeah.
That's not considered. They wouldn't. I mean,
like
there was an enemy back then. And I think that was Eisenhower. I don't think that was Roosevelt. I think it was Eisenhower was the one.
He allowed the top? No. All right, we won't talk about it here. We'll talk about it here. Okay.
So you're saying if your argument is they pick and choose who they charge, I agree with that, right? I don't believe General Westmoreland went to prison for lying about body counts during body counts meaning deaths during Vietnam. I don't believe he did. So like that, you're absolutely right.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Was it Roosevelt or was it Eisenhower? I don't.
They all
what year was it?
together,
I'll give you
all of them.
Who was it? Who was in the military during World War II?
World War II was Roosevelt, and then when he died afterwards, it was Truman.
Roosevelt.
Okay.
Eisenhower was a general in the U.S. Army.
But remember, he went with the whole agenda, knowing that they were innocent people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say the full thing on.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we're on Rumble, bro. You're confusing the audience, man. They don't know what you're talking about.
No, watch it, man.
All right, never mind. Then.
It's 12 hours. Bro.
Okay.
Watch it.
So, because I haven't seen it in a while, or that part in a while, so I'm like confused. But anyway, going back to the whole Trump situation.
Trump.
Yeah. So this is what I think. The best way for him to get around this is he's just gonna have to like delay. Like he should not push for a speedy trial. Should definitely file a bunch of emotions as much as he can to delay the trial.
Discovery. He should dump Discovery, like thousands of trucks of Discovery onto the government.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to give him the discovery. Yeah, and they probably are doing that right now. I guarantee you, before they even indicted this, they had the discovery ready to go. Because, and just for the audience, real quick, you guys probably wonder what the fuck is discovery, guys. Discovery is the process in which the two parties involved in some type of litigation share the information with each other that they have on the other party. So, in this example, if the government charges you with a crime, it's their duty to supply you with all the documentation and evidence against you that they plan to use in trial so that your defense attorney can properly and adequately represent you and defend you. That is a process.
They can't surprise you. And that's the thing. A lot of people like watch Perry Mason where he brings a fucking donkey into this courtroom. That's not real. That doesn't happen in real life. There's no surprise witnesses. That's just for television. You have to tell people ahead of time what you're doing. Now, a trick that people do often, if someone who's very wealthy sues you, one of the things they're going to do is they're going to dump discovery on you. And the pertinent documents are in this file here, but they've given you 500 files to go through. And so now you have to pay hourly for these associates at this law firm to dig through these files to find the pertinent information, and they drag you out financially. That's how they used it. How people can use discovery to bankrupt you.
Yeah, it's a weapon. It's a weapon to drown people.
Damn,
1000%.
And the discovery process exists in both criminal cases and civil cases. But in the criminal case, it's on the government to give you everything as far as the case. Now, me knowing the level of this case, etc., and me working federal cases before, typically the AUSA or the federal prosecutor in this case, this is the United States Attorney, they're not going to indict until they have discovery packages ready to go. The feds are very good about this. We'll cross the T's and dot the I's. And that was just for my regular cases. Like we didn't even go to grand jury until I had everything ready for discovery to give to the defense. So in a case like this, they probably already had the discovery ready to go. They have packages, probably fucking binders and binders and binders full of information, recorded testimony, blah, blah, blah. And they use a grand jury in this situation. So more than likely, they probably already gave Trump's defense everything that they have. They're going through it now. So what he's going to have to do is challenge everything, say we need more time to go through all this discovery, blah, blah, blah. And I think in his case, what the election is going to be next year, file as many motions as you can, ask for extensions on reviewing the discovery because it's probably going to be a lot. Ask for depositions, all this bullshit, extend as much as you can, then make it to the election, win the election, and then go ahead. And I think he could, presidential pardon.
So this is an interesting.
I don't know if you can pardon yourself, so you can pardon anyone else.
So you order though. So you can pardon yourself.
You can
theoretically, but so the most recent thing we have would be Gerald Ford after President Nixon steps down. Gerald Ford pardons President Nixon for anything that he could have been charged with.
Watergate, right?
For Watergate. But there are other things that he did. Also, I believe he pardoned Spiro Agnew as well because Spiro Agnew got caught up, who's the vice president. Before Spiro Agnew was the vice president, had to step down because of some real estate scam or something like that. And they named Gerald Ford, who was I forgot, from Michigan. I forgot where he was from. He becomes president of the United States and then pardons Richard Nixon. So that would be an example of it. However, the Supreme Court of the United States can strike down a pardon. And that would be the concern, was that if he becomes elected and then he also tries to pardon himself, he does not have ad hoc rights to pardon anyone for any reason. If they say this violates whatever crime, then they can also say that he can't pardon himself. So, and also
saying that he can pardon himself. I mean, I don't know because it's never been used where a president pardons himself.
The other question:
do you think DeSantis would pardon him?
He will.
He might.
He will. We actually shout out to David Rubin.
Dave
Rubin is good friends with DeSantis. We had him on the show. And we were talking about this discussion, and I was telling him that more than likely Trump, if he faces it, if he faces, he's going to get found guilty. And I was asking him, it'd be great if DeSantis pardoned him, or the next president that comes in should pardon him. He said, yeah, if DeSantis takes office, he already publicly said he would pardon Trump.
It'd be super interesting. Trump probably knows this. So if they ever had a debate, it would be interesting to see how Trump debated with him, knowing that he kind of has to hit him. Yeah. But at the same time, if they send me to jail, can you get me out?
To be fair, DeSantis has been pretty consistently defending Trump when it comes to these legal matters. Even though he disagrees with him on certain things, he's called this a witch hunt. DeSantis has previously. So I think I agree with you. I think he would attempt to pardon him.
I'm not fond of a lot of politicians, but I think DeSantis is very whatever he says, he does. Which I like.
Right. The thing about Trump is that he makes things very personal sometimes. And so I can just see him in a debate needing to bite his tongue, so.
Yeah, going after Ted Cruz's wife and stuff like that. Yeah, you're right.
He talks shit.
That gets kind of ugly. Yeah. I'm curious with the DeSantis thing, way off topic, but you might be interested in this, Myron, is that he was an attorney working for the State Department during the investigations at Gitmo. He was running the Department of Defense, I believe. So during the enhanced interrogations,
he was a JAG?
The water board, I believe he was working there. Yeah, and I'm curious how that's going to affect in the general election when we find out when that part of kind of stuff comes out. Meaning he was probably privy to the waterboarding situation, which, by the way, as a former U.S. military member, I'll say this right now: waterboarding is not torture. Waterboarding is not torture. I don't care. It sucks. It's really bad. It's not fun to do it. But the reason why I know it's not torture is because they do it to us whenever they put us through training, and none of us die. It's not torture. Torture is what they did to John McCain. And I think it's actually
In Vietnam, right?
Yeah, I think it's a disservice. They popped both of his shoulders out of socket and flipped him over, and the dude didn't even give up his name. What they did to John McCain, I think, is a disservice when they start calling sleep deprivation and waterboarding torture. That is not torture. That's enhanced interrogation. It definitely sucks. And to do it to a witness in the United States, I think, is immoral. But if someone kidnapped my child, you better believe I'm going to do that to them. And I'll say that right now publicly. I don't think it's immoral whatsoever if somebody did something like that. But that's not torture. I think it does a disservice to people who've actually been tortured when you say stuff like that.
Yeah, because they put the bamboo reeds in his nails, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. They did some horrible stuff.
So okay, where we at here? We could read some of these Rumble rants, and I'm actually pulling up a Twitter thing here because Vivek Ramaswamy, Swamy, he's an Indian guy. He's a businessman.
Thank you. Come again?
Yeah, he's gonna run for president as well on the Republican side, and even he said, "Yo, this is messed up what they're doing with Trump." And
so which
Trump,
one?
Yeah,
literally.
I think everybody knows that they have a hard on for him because Trump is very anti-establishment, and whenever you're anti-establishment, they don't want you out of the way, man. Yeah, because he has his own money. That's another thing too. He has his own money, so it's like, does he really need the political donors as much as other candidates do?
War.
And the other thing is he's anti-establishment. What you just said, he's anti-establishment, even anti the hawks in the Republican Party. Right? That because he has his own money. You said he doesn't want war. Like there's people even on the right who disagree with him. So when you say anti-establishment, he's fully anti-establishment, right? Because he came in there with his own money. And so that's another reason that happens. It's like you would expect all this support from the right, but some people on the right don't support him either. So that could be an issue.
Yeah.
I have another question, but I'll just save it for later. World War III, but we'll talk about that.
Let's get into that.
I'll hit these Rumble rants
UFOs, man. UFOs.
Yeah. Okay. We got here. Live in Reality goes, Myron, how practical is it